Hey y'all, it's episode 371 of the Late Night Vision Show. I have a full cup of coffee right here. I'm caffeinated. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to start the show. And I know my co-host sitting over there on the other side of the world. Not really. The other side of the state. Mr. Jason Robertson, owner of Outdoor Legacy. We've got a pretty interesting show, Jason. Tell them what we're going to talk about, but it's a little bit different than what we've done before on a similar topic.
We're going to talk about getting you an atlas because not only am I not on the other side of the world, I'm not on the other side of the state. I'm
I'm
actually
like more north. You're like
I'm
south.
2 hours south in deep
Yeah.
East Texas, and you're in
Feels like the other side of the world,
northeast
Jason.
Texas.
My
Yeah.
my heart feels half full right now because you're just too far away.
I know. Well, it's like I said, we're going to get you an atlas, and there's
Mm.
probably some younger people listening to this going, "What's an atlas?"
Yeah, I didn't pay attention. Yeah, what's an atlas or
What's an
the
atlas? Yeah,
the
Google Maps.
globe? Do they even have the globes in school? You could just go, like
That's a good
spin it
question.
like a basketball. I
don't know.
think so.
Atlases
feel
and
like-
MapQuest. That's
I feel
not
like everything's
atlas.
on the kids. They don't take school books anymore to school. It's just a computer. The school gives them a computer. So I don't even know if they give them books anymore. Textbooks. Never seen one. Haven't seen
My
one in
kids are
years.
homeschooled, so they have books. But yeah,
There,
I know.
there you go.
All right, let's
Yeah.
jump into this. Guys, we do have a great show today. We're going to talk about basically when is a good time to upgrade your thermal. And I want to be clear, we're not talking about what is a good time of the year. We've done shows about that before, might do it again, but spring, fall, that's not it. This is it's kind of how or what are some of the reasons that you might want to upgrade your thermal. Some of the top reasons that we hear. So we're going to kind of jump into that. But before we do, speaking of upgrading thermals, when that time comes, whether you're buying your first thermal or night vision scope, or you're upgrading, we would love to have your business at Outdoor Legacy. This is what Hans and I do for a living. It's not the Late Night Vision Show. It is selling optics at Outdoor Legacy. As well, not just us, but as well as our other salesman, Garrett, Michaela, Angela, Jessica, the three lovely ladies in the office, our full warehouse staff, everybody that we've got in this team at Outdoor Legacy would be very grateful for your business and love to have the opportunity to serve you. We would love to be able to offer our advice and expertise to you before you buy your optic, then help you make that purchase, guide you through that process, and then help you if you have questions after you own it. And so it's something that we really pride ourselves on is our customer service. Now, we're not perfect, but we darn sure do our best. One of the things that we're pretty proud of is if you order your optic from us Monday through Friday before noon Central Time, if it's in stock, which you'll know that talking to us on the phone when you place your order, we can let you know that ahead of time. It will ship the same business day via free UPS or FedEx shipping straight to you. Obviously, if you'd like to upgrade that shipping, that's available. But it's not one of those things where you place your order and hope it ships in 2 or 3 days or a week. No, we're going to get it out that same business day to you. So we would love to help you. 877-350-1818 or outdoorlegacy.com if you want to go straight to the website. And we would love to earn your business at Outdoor Legacy, and that is what keeps the Late Night Vision Show going. As much as Hans and I do this, the
Yeah.
day that Outdoor Legacy goes away, the Late Night Vision Show will be gone too. I can promise you that. I don't think we're.
You mean you're not going to stick around and do this for fun?
Not for charity. As much fun
Yeah.
as it's been for 370 other episodes,
Yeah.
I think you and I will probably be greeters at Walmart or Dollar General or something at that point.
You said this isn't our full-time job. Sometimes I feel like the Late Night Vision Show is our full-time job.
I think it's your
Sometimes.
full-time job because
I'm pretty sure.
Hans is the man behind the scene who's always having to edit the videos, upload the videos. There's a lot goes on in the production,
A little
and
bit.
Hans does that. Basically, I just show up here, good looks, personality,
Just
I'm
hand him his
kidding.
notes and let him
Ju-
read.
Just
I
kidding.
do feel
just
like
kidding.
I do. You said we have a good team. I feel like we have the dream team, kind of like the
I think we do.
Chicago Bulls from the '90s, something
It's-
like that. So
I'm going to say this. The last thing I'll say before we get to this, we really do. as an employer, I can say that I think we've got amazing employees, every single one of them. I mean, everybody has been here for a while, stuck around. Some people have been here a very long time, and it's just been really, really good. And a lot of people, I hear a lot of business owners complain about can't find people that work, and that is not a problem we have, and I'm very blessed for that. Now, y'all don't go prove me wrong. So, Hans, let's talk to them about when or what they need to do, or when they need to be considering, or what are the common reasons to upgrade your thermal scope.
Yeah, if you try to fire me, I'm going to like file a harassment lawsuit against you or something. Just like make up a bunch of false stuff. Just so.
Yeah, it's good luck. I won't have any money, so it won't matter.
By then, yeah, the doors are shut. There's no money. So yeah, we've talked about when is the best time of year to buy a thermal scope. This is different. This is when Jason, have you ever gone to a store and you're looking? Let's just say you're looking at TVs or whatever. You walk in and you're just kind of looking around, and the guy comes up to you from Best Buy and wherever store you're at and say, "Can I help you, sir? Are you interested in a TV?" And you just look at him with a blank stare and you're like, "I don't know why I'm here. I own every room in my house has a TV. There's nothing wrong with my TVs. I have no idea why I'm sitting here trying to talk myself into buying another TV." This is kind of what that show is about. You probably already have a thermal, because this is about when is the best time to upgrade your thermal. Mm-hmm. And what we want to do is kind of share some things that we've been in that situation. We've been in stores staring at products like zombies. We talk to people every day that say, "Hey, I'm calling you. I don't know why I'm calling you. I've got a thermal, but I just kind of feel curious about what else is out there." So we're going to go through some things that kind of, you might be like, "Oh man, that's me right now. And that's kind of how I'm feeling. Is this just, I'm bored and I want something to do. I want to buy another scope, or do I really legitimately need another optic?" So we're going to go through these kind of point by point, and we're going to swap back and forth and tag team this thing, Jason, for a little bit. The first point, and this is an important one. This is one that we call up, or people call up all the time and say, I'm having trouble IDing targets at distances that I now need to be able to ID a target. Let's say they bought a thermal scope, and whatever resolution you went with, the 256 or 384 resolution, just to break into the thermal thermal market and get something. And at the time when you got it, you said, "Oh, all I really need to do is just be able to ID a couple 100 yards or 100 yards, 150 yards." But you get that optic, and this is, Jason, it's kind of like the newness kind of wears off, because when you first get it, you're like, "Oh, this is great. This is all I'll ever need. This is great." 3 months later, you're like, "Oh, this is good. It still does what it needs." 6 months, you're like, "Oh man, I'd look at that 640 over there. Golly, I wish I could ID that far." So when you get to a point where you're like, my optic is okay, but I really wish I could ID an animal at 400 yards or 500 yards, because I don't want to have to keep walking closer to know what I'm looking at, or I don't want to have to wait, to call in a coyote, another 300 yards, so I know that I'm looking at somebody's dog and not a coyote, and pointing my rifle at somebody's dog and not a coyote. It really, I do get a lot, Jason, I know you got a lot of people too, that like, "Hey, when I first got my optic, it seemed fine. I seemed like I could ID okay. But now I realize that there's optics out there that I can ID at a much greater distance. And now they're not too much terribly expensive than what I paid originally for my first thermal. So that really, I know that you hear that quite a bit, but that's something I hear. It's one of the biggest things, is people just really need to be able to ID further than they used to be. And it could be they may be hunting different or new properties as well, Jason.
Yeah, so one quick thing I'll add to that is, I know that we hear this from time to time, and I'm just going to lay this out and say this doesn't normally happen. So unless there's just some bizarre one out of a, whatever, 50,000 chance, people sometimes will say, "My scope image quality is not as good as it used to be." something's degraded. Again, anything is possible, but that's an extremely unlikely thing. What normally, when you dig in a little bit more, it's that, you know, either the new has worn off, or maybe they've seen, somebody else's optic, or they've, watched some videos online, and it's like, mine doesn't look that good. So a lot of times I hear that, man, I can't, it's just not as good as it used to be. And I'm thinking, again, I was thinking of that when you were talking about when you first get it, like, oh my gosh, it's that
Yeah.
new toy.
And
But
it
then once
happens a
that kind of
lot.
wears off, it
It
does.
happens a lot too when a guy's had a scope for a while and his buddy gets a new scope.
Oh
And
yeah,
so he
that's
looks at
when
his
you know.
buddy's scope and then he's like, man, my thermal just doesn't seem as good as it used to. Well, no, your thermal's the
Yeah, that's
same as it
right.
was, but you just
Wonder
saw a
why.
better, you just saw a
Yeah,
better thermal. Yeah. Now your
yeah.
perception has changed.
That's
Yeah.
right. Well, moving on. So, point number two is new and better features, and this can be things that you need or things that you want. And there's we hear this, I think, probably when it comes to upgrading more than anything. I think number two is probably where it's at, and it's the first one I've got here on my list. I've just got a few things scratched down. Is what we probably do hear the most is an LRF. Guys say, man, I got into this, maybe they've been doing it a long time. They may have two or three scopes, whatever, but man, now these LRFs are way more affordable. I want that laser rangefinder. And a lot of guys are saying maybe they have a scope that's older, but it's like with an LRF, but man, I want the ballistic calculator. Those are right now, the laser rangefinders and the ballistic calculators are probably the most popular new, I would say new, but features that people are after. I think, I know Hans, you and Garrett are getting those calls every day, and everybody that I talk to, it's LRF and ballistics. There's some other newer things that have really kind of come on the scene right now that we're hearing more about is again, once guys see it in action, either watching one of our videos or something else online, or see it from a buddy, but that's like the ocular zoom, where you're taking and you're zooming in on your display screen, and we kind of call it cheating. It's cheating where you're not using digital zoom, and you're just making that screen get closer to your eye as you zoom in on it, and it's a pretty cool feature. I really like that, and so guys see that. Another thing is these big display screens. Now I've got a lot of scopes that are using, instead of like a 1024 resolution display screen, they're using 2560s. These are giant, big, super high resolution displays. And I will tell you, once you get your eye behind one of those and you see that, and you go back to a 1024, or sometimes you're like, what's this little thing? You get used to that. So I think that's another big thing. And then another upgrade, a feature, change that a lot of people want over time, especially with older optics, is getting into a new battery system. So if we look back, historically speaking, for the last, I'm going to say, decade, the primary battery pack system across most thermals on the market was CR123A batteries. And now those are pretty much gone in all but maybe just a couple optics that are a little bit older but still out there kind of on the market hanging around for now. And I'm happy to say that's a dead battery pack system that will not be coming back probably anytime ever, but unless there's some wild change in CR123A technology. The reason is those batteries are expensive. They have more than doubled in price in the last 3 to 4 years. They do not hold up in cold weather. They just don't last that long. So a lot of guys have got, and I'm saying older scopes. That may be a scope that's, 3 or 4 years old, but it's like, man, I'm ready to get rid of these batteries. I want to get something that's rechargeable. Get it, even if it's a proprietary battery that's got a very good battery life. Maybe it's internal batteries because they last so long and they're rechargeable, or 18650s. A lot of guys now say, I'm not buying an optic unless it's got an 18650. So again, a battery pack system is something that's part of the, I'm going to say, features, upgrades that a lot of people really want.
Yeah, I would say a couple of these that you mentioned that are like stand out a lot to me. the large display screen. I think you said, and I think you said it correctly when you said, "Hey, if you look at this, you're not probably going to want to go back." So if your buddy says, "Hey, I got this new scope, you need to check out how big this screen is," unless you plan on wanting to buy a scope soon, don't go look at it. I would just don't even go look at it. But that is these things that people call about these new features. Ballistics calculator is a big thing. Laser rangefinder has been talked about for many years, and more scopes are starting to come standard with them. But yeah, these things, if you feel like I hear from people that are like, "Oh man, I wish I could use a laser rangefinder and know exactly how far a target is." And it may just be just for self-confidence, not because they're needing the reticle ballistics calculator, but they just want to know just to know, and it makes them more confident shooter. So transitioning from that, I want to go into image quality, because that's also an important aspect of what people kind of goes through their head when they're talking about wanting to upgrade, where they see a video on YouTube like, "Oh man, look how clear that video is," or look how clear that higher resolution scope is. If you break into the market at a 256 resolution or a 384 resolution, I tell people all the time, the more that you do this, the more likely you are to want to upgrade to a higher resolution. So if you get a 384 resolution and you're going out 3 nights a week and you're hunting a lot and you're hunting hard, this is your main hobby, well, probably within 6 months to a year, you're going to be like, "Man, I would really like to jump up to a 640 resolution." The 640 resolution guys are like really eyeballing those 1280s right now, Jason. The more if this is your main hobby, the more you do it, the more you're going to want to go to a higher resolution. But that's where you're looking at your optic, and it kind of ties in to a couple different things with ID range and shooting. But being able to just want to have something with a clearer image more than anything is just eye appeal. I don't know how to describe it. Anything just makes your eye just more comfortable on your eye. Obviously, the images comes across cleaner. The videos are cleaner. Maybe you're wanting to produce content and you're wanting the cleanest image possible. But that is also, I know you talked about features, but upgrading in resolution is a big source of people upgrading. And it's just, "Hey, I want to go, I've had the 256, I'm ready for a 384, or I have a 384, I'm ready to go up to 640 resolution." And that is, people outgrow their resolution sometimes pretty quick. I tell people, "Hey, if you get the 384 resolution, you're going to save money. If you get the 640 resolution, you're less likely to have this same conversation in a year, because you're going to want to upgrade if you have that 384. So I don't know if that makes sense, Jason. It made sense in my brain, but
I would say
once
this,
you clear it up for everybody.
No, I know you, and I know the way we operate. I just want to be clear. Maybe people don't hear that. They're like, "Well, this guy's just trying to upsell me. He's telling me why I'm going to want a new scope in 6 months, and I don't have the money for a 640 today or a 1280. I know Hans, he's not saying that. What he is saying is that it's not that you should buy the 640 or the 1280 today, but he is right. We have these phone calls every single day, and it is, "Man, I bought this. I really didn't want to spend more, and I love it, but I want something better." And it is that.
Yeah,
we're all about you spending what you can afford. Go ahead.
No, you're right, because the phone calls I'm referencing, I guess I should have put a little context before that, is the guys that are calling in and say, "Should I get a 384 or a 640?" And
I got the money.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, if you get a 384, you save money. You get the 640, you're less likely to want to come back and try to upgrade in a year. So yeah,
that's right.
Those are the guys that are trying to decide between different resolution ranges. And I tell people all the time that, hey, just because you have a 640 resolution scope isn't necessarily going to make you more successful.
No.
Pulling the trigger and hunting because you got the 640 over 384. But resolution is a big aspect of people wanting to upgrade thermal zone.
Yeah, it is. And so I think what Hans was saying, and I'm not saying I can say it any better, but I would maybe, let's say it like this. You got a TV screen, going back to where Hans started. You got a TV, and it's I don't even know what. Maybe it's the old 720s or whatever that is. All right. It's a great TV. You can watch TV all day long on it and everything's wonderful. But you go in, like Hans said, you go to Best Buy or Walmart, or you go somewhere and you see this 4K TV and you're like, wow, that looks really nice. That's what I want. Now, you get that. You didn't get it because it had any other new features. It wasn't like, oh, it's got surround sound and it's, got this new digital what. No, you're just buying it for the image quality. And I think that's the point that Hans is, we're both trying to make on this one is it's upgrading not because, oh, I want to ID further. Oh, I need the LRF, or oh, I need to be able to shoot further. It's just I want a crisper, clear image. I want the best that I can, reasonably afford within my budget, and that is a source of a reason to upgrade. And can't blame people at all. We've got a couple more here, and I'm going to buzz through these a little bit quicker. The fourth one is going to be warranty. And this is something that's not quite as big as it was before, because in the past, warranties were 3 years. That was the standard warranty length. Well, the industry has changed due to a lot of competition over the last 3 to 4 years, really even 2 to 3 years. And now all the major quality manufacturers are 5-year warranties on those optics. So you do have a longer time period. But there's still people coming up on the end of their 3-year warranty on a scope they bought before the warranties changed. And there's guys that are coming up on the end of their 5-year warranties. And so some people have the mentality of, hey, I'm going to just drive this thing until the wheels fall off. If it breaks, it breaks. I got my money's worth out of it. It is what it is. Other guys have the thought of, this isn't like my truck. I can't go down to AutoZone and buy parts for it and fix it. If it breaks, I've got to send it to the manufacturer. And if it's out of warranty, number one, they might not even talk to me. They might not look at it. Number two, if they do, they might not have the parts to fix it because we're 5 years down the road. They may say they can, but it's going to be too expensive. So, once the day the warranty's out, it's like any other electronic you're just gambling. And this is probably worse than another electronic because, you can get your phone worked on, but you're really not going to find a third-party guy down the road to go work on your, specific thermal scope. So when that warranty starts coming to an end, a lot of guys start getting nervous and saying, man, I want a scope in warranty. I don't want to be left with this paperweight if it dies. So our advice would be, in a 5-year warranty, if you're going to sell a scope, again, if you're doing it for this reason, I would say try to sell it with at least a year of warranty. If you can have 2 years, even better. But if you get down and it's like, hey, I'm going to sell this thing and it's got 3.5 months of warranty left, that's better than 0 months, but not a lot. It just, that guy feels like the guy who's buying it, he's got a timer that's ticking, and he's got to go use it. He's got to make sure everything's good and there's no problems because in 90 days he's on his own. So the longer you can have on that warranty when you get ready to sell it, I think the more you'll get for it. But a lot of people just have the mindset of, I always want to have a warranty. And now again, at 5 years, you got a long time. Yeah. Most guys are honestly upgrading in less than 5 years anyway. But that's just something that we hear from time to time is, hey, I'm getting down there on that warranty, and so I want to sell it, while I can. And it makes you feel better, too, if you sell a scope with warranty, because that way, if it's got a year of warranty left and that thing breaks in 13 months, that's not on you, and you don't have to feel bad about it. That guy had it for a year. But, if you sell something to somebody with no warranty and they get it and next week it breaks, that's not a good situation. So,
definitely.
Yeah, so warranty's one. And then the last one that Hans and I threw in here, and we hear this one a lot too, and it's just, I want a new one. I'm ready for a new one. Hans, when we were kind of hashing this show out and talking about it this week, he said, it's kind of like getting a new truck. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with your truck and it drives good and it does everything you need it to and there's not a problem, but you just drove by the dealership and you saw those new ones out there and you go, man, I'd like to have another truck. And sometimes it's just that way. Sometimes it's a little bit of the, envy of all of these things, man. Yeah, there's some features I'd like to have, that image quality, my warranty, and you're using sometimes those things as the excuse to yourself of why you need that new scope, when in reality, you can shoot as far as you need to. You don't need the laser rangefinder. You really don't need higher resolution. You still got 3 years of warranty, but dadgummit, you just want a new scope. And if you've got the budget and the finances for that, there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with telling us that when you call. You can say, I just want a new scope. And there's a lot of guys who do that. And there's a lot, I think, don't want to admit it. They don't admit it to themselves.
Yeah.
So they try to come, and that's fine. It's your money. You do what you want to do, but we do hear that a lot.
Oh yeah, and guys that call up and say, I've got 4 scopes right now. I got a night vision scope. I got a 2 binoculars, and they're like, and I'm for some reason here on the phone again, calling about buying another one. So
Right.
there's sometimes you just don't need a good reason to buy another scope. You just want one. It's kind of like you told me back when suppressors were getting popular. It's like, man, you're going to buy one, and you're going to want to buy another one, and you're going to want it soon. You're going to want one on every rifle.
It's true.
It is. At first, back in the day, you're like, well, all I need is one suppressor, because you can take it off and put it on another one. Now I'm like, okay, I need a suppressor for every rifle.
I had that exact
Yeah.
same scenario. I said, I'm
Yeah.
only going to buy one.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
going to switch it all around. I'm going to get direct threads, so it'll go
Yeah.
on every rifle. And that lasted about 3 months. And I was like, well,
I
time to get in
know.
line again.
We got lazy. We're like, now we can't even just unscrew a suppressor and put it on another one. Now it's just, take it out and be ready to go. Y'all, this has been there's been a lot of information in this show, probably a lot of more information that we could share, more details as far as what would cause somebody to want to be able to, or need to be able to upgrade an optic. At the end of the day, it helps to talk to somebody. That's what we're here for. You can definitely give us a call if you're interested in purchasing your optic from Outdoor Legacy. If you're just wondering, hey, should I upgrade? Is this the right time to upgrade? Am I fine with what I got? Could I get a little bit better for not much more money? I mean, there's a lot of questions from where we started, Jason, today in the show at A to the ending. There's a lot of things in there that could be brought up to discuss as far as if somebody's ready. So I will say this, give us a call. If you want to buy your optic from Outdoor Legacy, you can call us 877-350-1818. You need to go check out the website, outdoorlegacy.com. Jason, we get a lot of compliments on our website. I don't know if you noticed that, but a lot of people calling like, man, y'all have a really good website. You can go in there and browse by price range. So if you're looking for, $2,000 and under, $3,000, you can just kind of filter out all the scopes that you aren't in your price range or not in your budget or not something you'd be interested in. So go check it out, outdoorlegacy.com, and then give us a call. We can talk about it, and we'd love to be able to help you out when you're ready to buy. And that starts, from the time that you purchase it, that relationship and the consultation, and then after you get your optic. Because a lot of people call and like, hey, I need to know how to use this, or I need help setting this up. And so a lot of people call us back. A lot of phone calls we take are service-related calls, not necessarily sales calls. So again, 877-350-1818, outdoorlegacy.com. We would love to have your business. You can find all of our past episodes of the LateNightVisionShow.com on YouTube, The Late Night Vision Show on Spotify. You can find Jason at Outdoor Legacy on Facebook and on Instagram, and me on YouTube, on Instagram and Facebook at Hans ETX. Jason.
All right, guys. Yeah, Hans was talking about the website, and we are actually in the middle of a 6-month project of completely rebuilding the website. We've got a crack team of e-commerce experts working, and so hopefully late this summer, August, September, we'll be launching a whole new website. But that is several more months of work to go. But we're working
Zoom
on
calls.
It. Yeah, lots of Zoom calls. Yeah,
Lots of Zoom
every
calls.
time Hans calls, what are you doing? I want a Zoom. Call.
Yeah,
So,
like
yeah,
the
exactly.
dude never even knew how to use Zoom before.
Exactly. Can you believe that? Yeah. Now I'm buying stock.
Couldn't even log into his account the other day. Now
That's
he's
a
like on
fact.
a
That's
Zoom
a
call
fact.
every day.
Had to phone a friend named Hans. All right, guys. Listen, hope you enjoyed this show. we plan to be here, good Lord willing, next week with another great show for you. So between now and then, y'all stay safe.